Have you ever wondered about the very first crime in human history? Not just any crime, but the first murder, a story of jealousy, rage, and a mysterious mark from God Himself. This isn't a modern true crime podcast. This is a story from the very beginning of the Bible, the tale of two brothers, Cain and Abel. What could drive one brother to kill the other? And what was the strange mark God placed on Cain, not as a punishment, but for his protection? Let us journey back to the dawn of humanity and uncover the tragic and profound story of Cain and Abel. It all begins after Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden. They started a new life, a life of hard work and struggle, and soon they had two sons. The firstborn was Cain and his younger brother was Abel. As they grew up, they chose different paths in life. Cain became a farmer, a tiller of the ground, working the soil to bring forth crops. Abel, on the other hand, became a shepherd, tending to his flocks of sheep. The time came for them to present offerings to God. It was a way to show gratitude and reverence. Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground, the produce from his hard labor in the fields. Abel also brought an offering, but he chose the best of his flock, the firstborn lambs, specifically the fat portions, which were considered the most valuable. And here the story takes its first dark turn. The Bible tells us that the Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering, he did not look with favor. Imagine Cain's feelings. He had worked just as hard as his brother. He had tilled the soil, planted seeds, and waited for the harvest. Why was his offering rejected while his brother's was accepted? The scriptures say Cain became very angry and his face was downcast. A fire of jealousy and resentment began to burn within him. God, seeing the turmoil in Cain's heart, spoke to him directly. He asked, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." This was a crucial moment. God was giving Cain a warning and a choice. He was essentially saying, "I see the darkness growing in you, Cain. You have the power to overcome it. Don't let sin control you." It was a moment of divine counsel, a chance for Cain to change his course. But Cain did not listen. The jealousy he felt toward Abel had taken root too deeply. It clouded his judgment and poisoned his soul. Instead of mastering his anger, he let it master him. The Bible then recounts the chilling moment that followed. Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And while they were in the field, away from everyone, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. The first human life had been taken, not by a beast or an accident, but by the hand of a brother. The silence that followed must have been deafening. But it was soon broken by the voice of God, calling out to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" God already knew what had happened, but he was giving Cain another chance, a chance to confess, to show remorse. But Cain's heart had hardened. He replied with one of the most infamous lines in the Bible, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" It was a defiant, sarcastic response. He was not only denying his crime, but also denying his responsibility for his brother. But you cannot hide a crime like this from God. The Lord said, "What have you done?" "Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." The imagery is powerful. The very earth was crying out for justice. The consequences for Cain's actions were now unavoidable. God pronounced his sentence. He told Cain, "Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. A restless wanderer you will be on the earth." Cain's punishment was severe. He was a farmer, and now the very ground he worked would be barren to him. His connection to the land, his livelihood, was severed. He was to become a fugitive, a nomad, with no place to call home. The weight of this sentence crashed down on Cain. He cried out to God, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Cain was terrified. He wasn't just afraid of being a homeless wanderer. He was afraid for his life. In a world without established laws or governance, he feared that anyone he met would see him as an outcast and kill him out of vengeance or fear. He was now completely isolated, not just from his family and his land, but he felt from God's protection as well. And this is where the story introduces one of its most fascinating and debated elements, the mark of Cain. In response to Cain's fear, the Lord said to him, "Not so. Anyone who kills, Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So what was this mark? The Bible doesn't specify. For centuries, people have speculated. Was it a physical scar? A tattoo? A letter on his forehead? Or was it something less visible? Perhaps a certain aura or look in his eyes that warned others away? We simply don't know, but the purpose of the mark is clear. It was not part of the punishment. It was a sign of God's mercy. Despite Cain's horrific sin, God protected him from immediate retribution from other humans. It showed that even in judgment, God's grace was present. It was a promise that vengeance belonged to God alone. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. The name Nod in Hebrew means wandering, so he literally lived in the land of wandering, fulfilling his sentence. There he had a wife, and he had a son named Enoch. Cain, the wanderer, then did something interesting. He built a city and named it after his son. The man cursed to be a restless wanderer became the founder of the first city mentioned in the Bible. The story of Cain and Abel is more than just an ancient tale of sibling rivalry. It's a profound lesson about the human condition. It teaches us about the destructive power of jealousy and anger. It shows us how quickly sin can escalate if we don't control it. God's warning to Cain, sin is crouching at your door. You must rule over it, is a message that resonates with all of us. We all face internal struggles, temptations, and dark thoughts. The story challenges us to confront them, to master them, rather than letting them consume us. It also raises deep questions about faith and worship. Why was Abel's offering accepted and Cain's rejected? Many theologians believe it was about the attitude of the heart. Abel gave his best, a sacrifice that cost him something valuable, showing a spirit of true faith and reverence. Cain, perhaps, gave his offering out of obligation, a mere formality without the right heart behind it. The story emphasizes that what God truly desires is not just our actions, but our sincere devotion. And finally, the mark of Cain. It's a symbol of both justice and mercy. Cain had to live with the consequences of his sin, the guilt, the separation from his family, the life of a wanderer. But he was also marked by God's protection. It's a complex and powerful idea that even after the most terrible of sins, divine grace can still be found. It teaches us that while our actions have consequences, the story doesn't always end with pure retribution. From this single-family tragedy, the story of humanity continues, forever changed. The world was no longer innocent. Murder had entered the scene, and the story of Cain and his descendants unfolds into a complex narrative of human civilization, with all its good and all its evil. The echoes of that first cry from the ground can still be heard, reminding us of our responsibility to be our brother's keeper, to choose love over jealousy, and to rule over the sin that crouches at our own doors. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of the Bible's most foundational stories. If you found this exploration of Cain and Abel insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories that have shaped our world. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. What are your thoughts on the mark of Cain? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.